How's it going, guys? This is Juan with Grindsessions, and today we're going to go over a pretty interesting topic. We're going over nutrition and the overall aspects and different questions that people may have with trying to be healthy. Today I have Charles Heffner here to discuss all of his certifications and his knowledge with being involved in this. Without further ado, here's Charles.
Hey everyone, how's it going, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
So a little bit of background on me. I have two nutritional certifications through the Health Sciences Academy. One of them is a nutritional therapist as well as a sports and fitness nutritional advisor. I'm also currently working on two through the Shaw Academy. One is childhood development nutrition as well as another one in sports nutrition as well in that realm. So I have a little bit of education. I'm not a genius. I don't have any masters or PhD or anything great, but
Well, some may consider you being more educational about the actual aspect of going through different tendencies people tend to go through with either gaining weight or losing weight. And tell us a little bit about your story. Growing up. Obviously we all know that you pulled some numbers in your powerlifting meet. You're a pretty big guy right now, very fit, but may not have always been that way. So if you can give us a little bit of background on that.
yeah, as a kid, I was really skinny as a little kid, outside a lot, and then moved to North Carolina, and I just continued to stuff my face constantly. I was a fat little chubby little kid. I mean, I'd eat the whole box of fruit roll-ups so that way I could have the Pokemon card, because I couldn't have the Pokemon card till it was all gone. So I'd sit there, and that's what I did growing up as a kid, and then moved in with my dad. I actually lost my mother, moved in with my father, and they were pretty much cut out soda from me completely. The only thing we drank was raspberry Crystal Light out of a big old jug, so I mean that automatically took a bunch of sugar and bad calories, empty calories, because there's no micronutritional value in that. Took that out, so I mean I was able to drop weight, and they made me more active. Actually, that's what got me into weight training and doing resistance training and stuff like that. Was we had some Bowflex dial up, dial down dumbbells. Those were super convenient, and we had a couple little pulley systems in the garage at first. So that kind of got me into that, and that helped me lean out a little bit. And I wrestled all through high school. Whenever I was a kid and real pudgy, I was about 130, 140 pounds. Then in high school, I wrestled about 160 pounds.
Put on some weight there.
Yeah. I was in pretty good shape there, and then I fell out of fitness. Everybody kind of fluctuates at times, especially, motivation is fleeting, life gets in the way. I got out of shape for a good bit. I actually had a pec injury. I separated my pec major, benching like an idiot on Christmas Day one day. And then not too long after, I got into powerlifting, and I went from about 185 and now I walk around at about 220 pounds.
And that's a huge milestone for a lot of people to even grasp, the different levels you were at with your story so far. So I think a perfect segue into this is kind of just going straight into a couple topics that we wanted to discuss. So a lot of people have had questions about caloric intake. If you want to give us your take in that.
Basically just calories in, calories out is how you lose and gain weight. Quality of food matters overall, of course, in terms of the vitamins, minerals, and micronutrients that you need for your body to function. Those are always going to be very important. But at the same time, you can improve overall health factors by having a healthy body weight. And by doing that, that is keeping yourself at maintenance calories after if you need to diet down to a healthy body weight. And that ultimately comes down to how much you eat. That's what your caloric intake is, the calorie value from the fat, carbohydrates, and protein in your food versus your caloric expenditure, which is it's actually a lot of things. It's more than just your exercise. You have your basal metabolic rate, which is actually 60% of what you burn, pretty much, which just keeps the lights on. I mean, for your breathing, sitting around, just basically what you need to be surviving. And then I can't give you the exact percentages on it. But then you have your exercise and overall just movement and things along those lines. So walking, going to the gym, stuff like that. Then you have NEAT, which is basic movements. Like right now when I'm moving my hands while I'm talking and things like that, that's what we would call NEAT. Then we also have the thermic expenditure of food, TEF, which we burn energy off as heat. That's why, people get meat sweats. Because protein's harder to digest, it actually has a higher TEF than carbs and fat. So our
Naturally
bodies
produces
produce
heat.
heat, and they'll get heat sweat
Nice.
or meat sweats. So that's one thing. But ultimately, yeah, like I was saying, when it comes to weight gain and weight loss, overall your calories in versus your calorie out will dictate where you go. And that is going to be individualistic for each person as well. Finding out, what you burn on an average day, it takes a little while depending on how much lean mass you have. If you've dieted in the past, it actually plays a big effect in that as well. There's a lot of research that shows if you've tried dieting, the more you've tried dieting in the past, the harder it is for you to lose that weight.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because your metabolism fluctuates with you. And then another thing to understand is over the course of time, humans have run into famine multitudes of times. According to anybody's version of history, back in the day, we did. So when you look at it in that aspect, if I reduce my calories for an extended period of time, my body thinks, oh, there's a shortage of food. So whenever I start adding calories back in, if I start hammering food back, that's why people will rebound weight really quick. Your metabolism adjusts over time to decreasing your calories or increasing your calories. That's why you have, for instance, with the increasing your calories, big thing right now, Stan Everything's vertical diet's huge. And then also the idea that Lane Norton and his camp and his guys that are under him, they kind of have in reverse dieting for people that after they do diet down for extended periods of time, slowly incorporating more calories in, and very slowly. I mean, that could be 3 carbs, a gram of fat, and 2 grams of protein. Increasing that every day. But over the course of time, that's 20 calories, and we could build back up without having this rebound gain in fat. And then over time, we can allow our bodies to actually eat more food and be at that healthy weight.
Well, that makes sense, and I think that another topic that a lot of people would be interested in, especially males listening to this podcast, would just be the details, in their perspective, which a lot of males go through, especially myself, is trying to understand weight gain conception. So the ability to gain weight and how to hold weight, dense weight. So if you want to give us your take on that.
So basically, you have the whole idea of cutting and bulking, and people have this idea of bulking as just eating whatever you can. And for some people that can work depending on how their metabolism works. Some people already from the get-go have a quote-unquote fast metabolism. And generally a lot of those people are just outliers. We have people that can eat an insane amount of food and stay lean, and then we also have outliers at the other end. We don't have everybody has this average. We're all the same. So some people are, LeBron James, for instance. Not everybody has this outlier of, we all have this even keel ability to play basketball. Same goes for our metabolism and things along those lines. So we have outliers. But so in terms of weight gaining with bulking, you want to keep your foods to stuff that you're able to continuously eat, because the volume of food becomes a dependent thing that you have to do, which as you grow larger, you need more food to eat. So, for instance, we have strongmen. If your goal is to be a heavier power lifter or one of the larger bodybuilders, or you're already a big guy and you have a lot of lean mass, like say you're an offensive lineman or something, and you were in high school as an offensive lineman or a linebacker or something like that, and you're a big boy. And so you want to be able to fuel your body efficiently, so you want to find foods that are agreeable to your digestive system, and you can eat in good quantities. And so, like with the vertical that I was saying, you have ground beef, it's pretty easily digestible for the majority of people. The protein value in it is very good because it contains a good amino acid profile to it. Saturated fat and cholesterol, they're very important for athletes if that's something that you're doing, especially if you're training hard. if your goal is to build muscle mass, odds you are training hard if that's a goal for you. So having those things are proper for testosterone and hormone production. And also, that's with keeping in mind that you're already a healthy individual.
Okay.
If you're not a healthy individual, that's something you want to monitor. That's saying, like, don't go gung-ho and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to eat 3 pounds of beef now. Monitor that.
Yeah, be more controlled.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a miracle food. And then, white rice, I've told you before in the past, I'm not that crazy about brown rice as well as, like, wheat bread, but that's just because it's effective on my digestive system.
Exactly, and everybody's different, like we talked about.
Yeah, like I pound peanut butter and jellies. They're the calories for me. I can manipulate them if I need to. I can get sugar-free jelly, or I can get the reduced fat peanut butter if that's something I need to manipulate in terms of my macronutrients, or I need to reduce my calories. And they have so many options for bread. They got 40 calorie sliced bread now.
So there's so many different options, so many ways to tweak it, pretty much.
Yeah, tweak the food that you eat, and that's one of the things is compliance becomes another big thing. Is just that's why finding foods that are agreeable to you, something you can eat repeatedly and constantly. It's easy to make. Things like that, because of the quantity of food that often you're going to need to eat to bulk is important, especially, the guys that are really skinny, generally most of the time, those are the guys that tell me, I have a really fast metabolism and I can't eat enough. So that's where it's, they can throw some dirtier foods in there. Whenever we've talked in the past, apple pies. I tell people all the time, my best friends for helping me gain weight were Ben and Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
I always threw away the lid. I took the lid and I threw it away. And that worked for me for a while, but then I started to have some fat gain, so I had to manipulate that. I had to find another way to get my addition. So I kind of cut that out, and I would get something else to kind of replace that. Because I still needed my calories elevated, but I didn't need 1,000 extra calories of sugar and fat.
That makes sense. So, a topic then that a lot of people, especially females, listen to this podcast that potentially would be more interested on how to lose weight. So weight loss conceptions versus gaining weight. Just kind of tapping in on that. It's kind of the same exact concept then. Just kind of manipulating it and understanding where you can give in a lot of places, but still get the types of foods you want to get in. Really, you don't have to dramatically change your diet in certain cases. Maybe not in everybody's, but what's your take on that?
So basically, like I was saying, finding foods that are agreeable to you and that you can eat often, that's kind of what it is compliance, being able to stay to something routinely. Like, that's one thing that when people, say they go on a no-carb diet, ketogenic diet, or they do vegan, or, something where they're eliminating whole macronutrients or whole food groups entirely that they're used to eating, that's where temptation becomes a very big issue. Willpower becomes an issue. And generally these people that are trying to lose weight, they have, if they've tried dieting in the past, they have a kind of weird relationship with food already.
That makes sense.
And so that's one thing that the main thing you want to find is finding something you can stay to in order to be able to have long-term success. We all want the magic reduction, which, it can happen. Like, I've gone on no-carb diets and they've worked fantastic for me. But, generally with diets, it seems like about 30% work for 30% of the people. It's kind of the thing is, some people, they can ride out keto hard. They love it. They perform excellent on it. Some people ride out being vegan hard, perform excellent on it. Some people, it's opposite. We're all individuals, so what works for you may not work for me. But some of the base foundation may be able to work. With weight loss overall, like, it's calories in versus calories out. And finding a way to increase workload is very important for people trying to lose weight. So having some form of exercise is going to be overall beneficial in all areas, of course. Resistance training over long bouts of cardio, or HIIT training where you're able to elevate your metabolism for long periods for a greater period of time past your actual exercise.
Okay.
Is one thing that's beneficial. But one thing I tell people for gaining weight or losing weight, there's a million apps to track your food now. and they all have a barcode scanner, so you don't even got to type it in and search for it.
It's so much easier.
The database is massive, so you don't have trouble really finding your food. If you go to a restaurant, you type in what you got.
I think people don't understand it. So, that's the whole point of us even being able to sit down today and brainstorm these topics is really about the ability of educating everybody that may not understand the tools that they have, the resources they have at their fingertips. And overall, with all the concepts that we're talking about, they're tailored specifically to each person differently, right? So it's all about figuring out what you can do to help yourself individually, and truly the best way to do so is doing research. Do research on people that potentially have the same type of body type as you. Understand your body a little bit more, and understand more so your digestive system, and how your stool is, and kind of focus on whether you really are holding in the foods that you're taking in. But sidetracks on all those things. One of the main topics as well that we want to finish up on is going to be supplements. This is a big thing that I think both genders can relate to, that are going to be listening to this podcast. But through your career and your ability to achieve so much success in gaining weight, topics that we really didn't discuss that much of is just your power. Your ability to really move weight and understand your body. A lot of people would contest that it's potentially just because of supplements, and let's just talk briefly about supplements and what you believe supplements is, overall aid is, and what their ability is in helping you achieve your goals.
I worked for 2 major supplement stores, for about 2.5 years combined. So I tried all the protein powders, all the creatine, pre-workouts and things like that, and they can be beneficial, but it's really, they're supplements. They're supplementing things that you're missing from your diet, and they're filling in holes. So it's really that last 3 to 5% that can be aided. Garcinia was a great craze, raspberry ketones, this, that, and the other. If there was a magic pill, we wouldn't have obesity and diabetes and a lot of metabolic dysfunction in America. If it was there, we would know about it. You wouldn't have to find this ad on the corner in Facebook to click on it, because believe me, that person would be rich and they'd be on Shark Tank. We'd be good.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So, but, and then you have your sports performance and then multivitamins. People that are deficient. Most of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. We don't spend enough time in the sun as is, because there is harmful UV rays, but vitamin D is essential for bone health, hormone function, and dozens of other things. So, there is reason for supplementation, and that's something that, you can get a blood test and actually see all those things. That's something that you can do it in home. It's not that hard. You can actually order them online. But then you have, your proteins and stuff like that. If it's hard for you to eat enough, or say you're not hungry after your workout, or you're in a rush or something, protein powders, meal replacement shakes, stuff like that, they can be beneficial. You have pre-workouts that, they do get you amped up. Caffeine is one of the very few ingredients that has shown to increase sports performance. It increases your nervous system's reaction, your sympathetic nervous system. So, it can be very beneficial, but it's not going to, say, put 10 pounds of muscle mass on you like that. When you put on mass, generally with those supplements, you can retain more water in lean mass, which will show in a reflection, which having more water within lean mass is never a bad thing. To carry excess water as bloat, that's not comfortable, but if you're carrying in muscle tissue, you're going to perform better. So, that's one thing that, creatine does and stuff like that. So, if you need that extra last boost, that's great, but the main thing you want to do is try and pull the best you can from your food and focus and dial in on that. Some things, whenever you go to a supplement store and you buy something and you take it for 30 days, it can be a nice placebo effect, though. It can be, it's a term of investment as well. If I pay money into something, I'm going to use it. And so if I take a pre-workout, if I buy a pre-workout and I spent $50 on it or $30 on it and I take it, I better go to the gym and I better work out. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to waste that money. So it is an investment. So buying stuff like that can be an investment in yourself, as long as you understand what you're using it for, as to help with that last little bit, but not to be this magic cure for whatever the issue really is. So, I mean, that's my kind of thoughts on supplements from, the range of micronutrient deficiencies. Because, I mean, like, if your issue is that, eat a varied diet more. You need to get more produce in your diet. Find a way to fill in those gaps. Don't be like, oh, I got this multivitamin, I think I pee all it out. Because, I mean, that's what most people think. And so, if that's the issue, I mean, shoot, if you're making a smoothie every day with the protein powder, throw some veggies in there. Throw some fruits in there. But, I mean, from that point all the way to the sports performance, it's always going to be to fill in the gaps.
Okay, so pretty much what we could all take from that, what you're hearing is a lot of people may not realize that they're, deficient in nutrients, and that right there needs to be handled first for you to be able to feel the full positive effects of even implementing any supplements into your body. So, everybody can take that from this talk overall and understand all the different concepts in general health and nutrition. But we're wrapping up our second episode. This has been a pleasure to talk with you, Charles, and I hope that all of our viewers have been able to learn a little bit more, potentially different ways that could help them and their specific goals through their health journey. So without any further ado, we'd like for you guys to go on Instagram, follow Grindsessions. We have a Facebook page too, Grindsessions. And Charles actually has an Instagram page where he posts all of his extremely heavy lifts. It's Traposaurus_Rex. You guys give us a shout out, give us a like, a follow. Any questions you guys may have or topics you want us to discuss, contact us through our email, grindsessions101@gmail.com. This is us signing out. Thank you guys.